We've got a 2020 Panamera here in the shop. Customer hit something on the freeway. Unfortunately, it just took out the whole corner of the lens. We advised the customer to tape it up, make sure no water gets in, because once water gets into these headlight assemblies, they're very expensive to replace. And the modules can short out, then you need programming. So our services will change the headlight lens without requiring you to get any new modules, any programming, at a fraction of what the dealer will charge you for a new assembly. And especially our labor will be able to charge you accordingly and make sure that you're not getting taken advantage of, essentially. But if you have a Porsche that needs a lens swap because it's hazy or it's crazed or there's something wrong with it or crack, reach out to us, send us a picture, we'll give you a price. But we'll do a quick before and after and show you what everything is like once we get this all apart. All right, this light is out. This customer, by the way, was quoted 4 hours book time by the dealership, and that was included in the $5,000 charge to replace this lamp. I don't know if they had these modules in there too, just in case, but typical dealership stuff. The biggest thing when we're replacing a lens is we want to make sure that the back housing is not cracked. So the first thing I'm going to check is the back housing, and it's actually good. The lens suffered the grunt of it, and it looks like it stops there, so that's really, really good for us. Because otherwise we got to do a back housing repair. That takes a little bit more time, it's a little bit more costly. But the customer did well. He sealed up the crack with some tape. It doesn't look good, but you know, we're coming in at a fraction of the cost of a dealership. Well, you can get a used light, I'm sure, for, I don't know, $1 or $2 grand, if it's in rough shape or it's got some missing stuff. But brand new, you know, these lights are a few $1,000s each. Usually the LED adaptive lights are $3,000 to $5,000 a piece, depending on if you need the modules or not. So this is a good situation. Customer's here for the day from Pennsylvania. This actually happened while he was vacationing down in Florida or doing something in Florida. So whatever the case is, doesn't really matter to us. We'll be able to repair this. What is interesting is this is made by Hella. A lot of the modern Porsche lights are made by ZKW. So we'll see how that affects the seal. I see some staples in here. This is you know, pretty difficult procedure in some senses. Hella uses a strong sealant, brittle channel. We use an ultrasonic cutter to cut off the old lens and then extract all the pieces to safely get everything done. But I'll keep you updated on how this goes. So the lens gets cut off with an ultrasonic cutting tool. You know, carefully. That way we can extract the pieces in a little bit. The ultrasonic tool is really precise. And this channel was interesting because you don't want to slice into anything like the back housing or go through anything. So I took the safe way and didn't cut super close to the edge, but it doesn't really matter. Unfortunately, a tiny bit of debris and a little bit of a mark there. I'll see if I can polish that up, see if I can get that looking any better. That was from the impact. You know, plastic does bend and it does crazy things actually. So we'll see if we can get that looking better, but all in all, it's all gonna be good. This should look close to perfect when we're done. Lens has been extracted. So I was making references to those staples. Hella lights have always notoriously used these staples that essentially just pins the lens down. We'll use a small screw to make sure this lens cannot unseat itself in the future, because ZKW and Hella lights are different in a lot of aspects, and they kind of look the same, you know, same design elements, but we'll make sure that the lens can't get loose. That way you won't have any problems with condensation. And we do offer that 1-year warranty on the condensation if we do the service. So nothing to worry about. These have been solid. They're quality light. They have good breathers. You shouldn't see any problems. So that's what it looks like with the housing out. All this sealant needs to get removed now. We'll replenish it with what's called a butyl rubber sealant. It's a Headlight grade sealant that we use, and the new lens can be slipped on. All right, the channel's been cleared out. This channel is about, I don't know, 95% clean. It's pretty damn good. This was one of the harder permaseals to deal with. The lens came off pretty smoothly. Thought it was gonna be an easy walk in the park, but it's hard to get that sealant out. So the cold glue tools are really crucial. That's what I used here. This blade's gotta get piping hot essentially to scrape it out. You can use a heated up screwdriver to dig out the channel. Other people have used different things, but it makes a really good contact to the back housing but the sealant really doesn't stick as well to the lens, and I guess that's why they stapled down. Hella had issues in the past with Cayenne headlights, for example, and the lenses would pretty much just kind of fall off. The seal would break and water would be able to enter the assembly. So next step is to reinsert the housing, add the new sealant, which we'll go over in a little bit. This isn't exactly a DIY, but it's a quick overview of what goes down, and this is definitely pretty challenging if you were to DIY. Expect it to be a good weekend project if you tackle it, but make sure you're armed with the right tools. We'll leave a description down below to the link to the website, and you can use that method if you care to, but otherwise I think it's going to be pretty difficult to find something that'll work. So the sealant comes in as a kind of like a rope, and you feed it into the channel. Channel can vary in depthness and thickness. This one's pretty much the same. There were a few areas where it's a little bit deeper, so you just want to make sure you spread it out consistently. This needs to get sprayed out, get all the dust out. The housing actually sits in the lens on this one, so that'll be closed up together. Might put another bead, a very thin bead of sealant on this one because it is a wide and deep channel. Just to make sure, we'll put those screws in. We'll show you how this closes up in just a little bit, and it'll be ready. It'll be ready to go. Okay, this is what I meant about that extra bead. It's about 1/3 of a bead. You never want your sealant kind of completely sticking out of the channel or anything like that. Whatever oozes out, we can clean up. There was a little bit of debris in here. I'm not going to touch too much because the lens was split open. So took off what I could. Make sure you don't really use anything abrasive to touch anything. It's a really clean microfiber at the most. And even then, this chrome is what we call like a fail chrome. It's a very light coating of chrome. You don't want to rub that too hard if you get a fingerprint on it. Always wear gloves. But this is ready to go. This the lens actually seats inside the housing. The housing seats inside the lens, I should say. It'll go in as one piece together. So we'll clean this up, make sure it looks good, and then we'll squeeze these two together after it comes out of the oven. Now this is your inspection time. The lens is just sitting in front, ready to be pushed in. You want to make sure that any debris or any dust is on the outside of the lens. You don't want anything on the inside. We try to keep those lenses sealed inside that saran wrap that they come in, and don't touch it, essentially. If it needs to be touched, again, only clean microfiber. We use a handheld blower to do this process to make sure. Was able to polish out the imperfection there in the black. I mean, this is going to look 99% of new when I'm done with it. Unfortunately, there are a little bit of some marks from the accident, but night and day difference here. Okay, we're in great shape. Everything's been tested, reinstalled. This light is a little tricky to get slid back in, but it just takes a few minutes to really figure it out and just push it in, and then you can fasten it down, reconnect the vent tube and the connector, secure the fender liner, reattach the wheel, torque it. I mean, check that out. Also spent some time removing, there was a lot of tape adhesive here that the customer had to use. I'm glad he used it because a little Goo Gone goes a long way, and polished off this area. At this point, yeah, the customer needs a little PDR, but aside from a bumper, this thing is set, and to be honest, with this color, it hides a lot. It honestly looks good to go. As far as I know, maybe the customer is going to be leaving it just like this, but polish the other light so that way it looks fresh. This one was pretty good. It's in great shape overall. But yeah, this thing's ready to go. Again, we're coming in at a fraction of the cost of a new LED assembly, so just all around huge win on this one. Lucked out with just the lens being cracked. So things aren't so bad. If you're in a similar situation, contact us. You can mail these in. We have customers sending them in from all over the world, coast to coast, outside of the US, you name it, we do it. So we do lens swaps for many makes and models. So I'll leave a link in the description to this service because this is a new service that we'll be offering. This is the first Panamera, but this will complete our offering essentially because we offer lens swaps for all the makes and models for the Porsches essentially. A lot of Euro models as well. So if you see something, if you don't see something, reach out to us, but you can check out the product listings on the website. Subscribe to the channel. We look forward to hearing from you.